Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, KLIXcast and Jill Skeen.
Well, good morning and welcome to Top Story.
The Snake River Canyon jump, was something I worked at for 7 years to do. I fired 2 test shots to try and make the test shots go across the canyon. They both went right into the bottom of the canyon, right into the river. And I ran out of money and I only had one left. I had to get in it and try it. I was a dead man. I never thought that I had a prayer. I didn't think that thing would get 10 feet.
Whoa, it looks like a good one. Whoa. Oh, Evil, stay with the bird. He looks like he's... Whoa, there's been a mistake. He looks like he's going into the canyon. The ship's going down. It's going down.
As the vehicle is going down, the wind is blowing me back into the canyon wall. Now, I'm fighting, trying to get out of it. People didn't realize it, but I was trying to cut myself free. I was tied in that thing. If that would have gone in the river, I would have absolutely drowned. I was a dead man. I waited 7 years and then had an engineering mistake made, a malfunction. The parachute blew out on takeoff because of an electrical malfunction. How I ever made it, how I ever lived is just a miracle. In every adversity, there's an equivalency to benefit if you just look for it. And as far as I'm concerned, if I'd have made it across the canyon, everybody would have said, well, it's easy, I could have done it. If I'd have died, they'd have said, well, the daredevil died. Evel Knievel, that was his grand finale. But excuse me, I didn't. I'm still alive.
There you go. It was 40 years ago today.
That's right,
September 8th, 1974.
And you remember it well.
I remember it well, yes. I was on the south side of the canyon, the first house just to the west of the launch site. And I was calling it on Keep Radio back then.
Yeah.
And I remember I was kind of watching some of the videos here on YouTube and refreshing my memory, and it's just the way I remembered it.
Was it?
It went up and it kind of hung and it came back down.
That you remember? All the crowds and rushing and crushed the fence?
I was kind of away from that, so
yeah.
I was not, that kind of happened on the east side.
Oh, okay.
And I was on the west side, so I wasn't privy to all of that.
No.
But in fact, when I was there and even getting out of the site, I didn't even know that was going on.
Oh my goodness.
So, but at any rate, today at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
There will be a test shot to see if they can get the new sky cycle across the canyon.
That's right. It's on the same plans as the old one, but they've updated the parachute mechanism. Apparently, they didn't have the technology back then that they do today. And Scott Truax, he's the son of the original rocket designer, his dad, Bob Truax. So I think it's like his life's goal to right his dad's wrong or whatever. And, and
they want to cure history, they say.
They want to cure history. And Eddie Braun, a Hollywood stuntman, is going to be jumping or flying it, I guess. Really flying it.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
Pretty much.
So anyway,
now,
the test is today at 10.
10 o'clock, and our own Benito Baeza is heading out there.
He is.
And at 9 o'clock, he will be joining us and giving us a full report.
Yes.
To see how things are going and what's going on.
And then also, later on, he'll be posting the flight.
Yes. He's going to take some video of the test flight and
interview Eddie and Gary Davis, who's the chief engineer on the project, and he used to be Evel Knievel's stunt double.
Which is kind of ironic, isn't it?
A stuntman needed a stuntman.
Maybe he wasn't as tough as everybody thought.
Maybe not. But we're actually going to have those two on tomorrow's show.
Yeah.
To talk about what happened and maybe if they have a better idea of when they're going to really fly this thing.
So, and also coming up later this morning here on Top Story, we'll be talking to Dustin Godfrey about the Wings and Things event.
Wings and Things by the Optimist Club.
We got Randy Staples at 8:40 with the Idaho Political Update. 9 o'clock, we'll have Benito reporting from the scene of the test flight of the Sky Cycle. And then at 9:20, we have Chris Anderson from the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium.
Yeah, he'll be on the lookout. Maybe you'll be able to see it from his...
Yeah, maybe he can watch it through the telescope.
The telescope.
Well, I'm kind of curious. I want to ask him about apparently over the weekend there was a meteorite that flew by.
It was pretty
the Earth
close.
at about 25,000 miles. So we'll see what he has to say.
And they
about
said
that.
they only knew about it a week prior to this. So you're like, how do you not know this a little sooner?
This
It
is
was a
getting
big
little
thing. It was a big one.
Was it a extinct? What do they call it? Extinct level event?
I don't
Extinction
know.
level event or
I
something
don't know,
like that?
but it did. Part of it hit somewhere.
Yeah, in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Managua, Nicaragua.
Yeah. Too bad it
right
wasn't like
in the capital.
Too bad it wasn't like Syria or something.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can't we like target those a little better? It hits ISIS. Wow, that would save us a ton of money.
Oh yeah, and then we could have said, and stop what you're doing. You're going to get another one. We'll make them think like it was ours. Our secret weapon from outer
just,
space.
Some kind of retribution. I don't know, but that would have been interesting if it hit somewhere like that.
Meanwhile, back to the Evel Knievel thing. I'm kind of wondering. This is quite a feat that Scott Truax and Eddie Braun are attempting. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think they're going to make it. I think it's going to happen.
Too. No, I think so too.
And I would be interested to know what you think if you think that they're going to be able to make it, because when you stop and think about it, this is quite an event. To shoot somebody off in that rocket, to fly, a quarter of a mile or so to get across the canyon, and hope that nothing goes wrong like it did last time.
Right.
Whatever it was, there are a lot of people who claim that Evel Knievel threw the lever for that because he didn't want to die.
Right.
I don't know.
And when I look back at the video, he really went high up in the air. I mean, that is scary. That thing was scary.
Well, yeah.
And I didn't realize he had to be lowered into it. There's a picture of him.
Oh yeah,
like
they had a crane out there, and
crane.
they lowered him right down into it, and then they had to get up there and screw down the lid and all that stuff. So it was.
As he's like, no, please let me out.
Please
let me out.
it was.
That would be scary.
I mean, you can say what you want about Evel Knievel, but I would never try that.
Oh my!
I wouldn't do that.
No.
And I don't care for how much money.
You would call the thing, but you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
I don't know. I think these guys will make it. I mean, they're professionals, and they've, and Eddie Braun's done stunts, and Gary Davis is a stunt man coordinator, and they do this stuff for Hollywood all the time, and it's more of probably a science for them as opposed to, we'll just do some stunt. I mean, they have millions of dollars behind these movies that they do. You have to get them right. So I think that's the precision they're coming to this stunt with, and I think they'll make it too. Absolutely.
736-0300 is the number to call. Just kind of curious if anybody thinks that they're going to make it, or if they're not going to make it, or if so, why, and if not, why.
Yeah, or if you're like, I don't really care. I don't want us to be known for that anymore. I mean, you can't stop it, because whenever I'm anywhere outside of Twin, like, just flying back from Florida when I was visiting my friend, you say, where are you from? And you're like, Twin Falls, that's where the Snake River Canyon, where Evel Knievel's. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Like, that is the anchoring memory. No one knows outside of Twin what happened here.
That's exactly right.
No one knows.
That's exactly right. And there are a lot of people who will claim that, that gave Twin Falls a bad name. I don't think it did.
No one knows anything about that.
It might have given Twin Falls a bad name locally. To some people and there were some people who really got financially damaged during that thing.
And
so
physically
that would be,
and everything
and
else.
Naturally, that would leave a bad taste in your mouth. But I don't think it's known outside of this area. So you talk to anybody.
I have never heard that anywhere.
Right.
No.
When you're talking to someone outside of the area and you say that, Evel Knievel, they don't say, oh, yeah, that's where Evel Knievel really screwed the town of Twin Falls.
No, I mean, and I'm not from here, and I heard about the jump, and no one heard anything about that.
Right.
It's always the local people that know this, but it doesn't travel beyond our border. It really doesn't.
Right.
And I know a lot of people have a lot of bad memories. I mean, on the 30th anniversary, they were talking about it. Now it's the 40th. And, no, people only, I think that put Twin on the map to anchor the memory where it is.
Yeah, I think so too. And Benito and I were talking a while ago about the significance or insignificance of having to do the jump on the anniversary date of the 40th year. And when you stop and think about it, is it really totally necessary to have the jump on a successful jump on an anniversary?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of piques the marketing interest.
But nobody has done it yet. And when you do it, that will be the event, whether it's this year or next year, I think.
I think, though, I mean, I think if...
it would be nice maybe to have it. It would be nice, but I don't think it's totally essential because I think it's going to be just as big of a deal. In other words, not making it today is not going to diminish the significance when it is done.
Yeah, and, it'd be interesting to watch national media to see if anyone says, oh, this is the 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
Outside of Twin or Idaho, is anyone else reporting on it? I mean, so far I haven't seen anything.
It's like if the United States was to go back to the moon, would we have to do it on the anniversary of the first landing on the moon? I don't think so. I think just getting back there, whenever it would be significant.
Well, we'll find out because I know they want to get some national media on this, and that would be great. And then you'll find out. But happy 40th.
Yeah.
What can you say?
Well, and I think they wanted to do the test on the anniversary, which is probably more significant than, say, not doing the actual jump.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know. I think it's good they're doing something on the anniversary, and that actually it looks like it's going to happen because they have their launching pad, they have their rockets. So it's not like it's still a pipe dream and it's fantasy land.
Yeah. Well, now you talked to them over the weekend, right? And they're ready to do this.
Oh yeah. No, I have. Yeah, they are ready. They're ready. They're going to be ready at 10 o'clock. So. It should be fun.
Be watching to the east.
I'm sorry I'm working here. Otherwise, I could go out there and watch. They said I could come out, but I'm like, I'll be on the air. So
you're their special person.
I guess so.
They didn't invite me.
No, well, of course you could come.
736.
They just contacted me.
Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly and Jill.
Hey,
good morning, Kyle.
I am surprised that it's not the real deal with all the problems they've had. It's so ridiculous. And, as far as them making it, I hope they do. And, you say they're flying a quarter mile. They're flying way farther than that. It's a quarter mile across. They're not going straight across. They're arcing. So they're flying a half a mile before they get to their destination. A lot of things go wrong.
Oh,
and I know,
absolutely.
And I remember the first one when it went off. I watched it on TV and watched them get in and everything else. And the big to-do back then was that he was hanging on to the parachute lever inside, and the G-force knocked him out for a second. He let go, and parachute, you could see it in the video. The parachute was already coming out before it even left the ramp. He was doomed before he left the ramp.
Yeah, that's right. So, that's right. And you can see there's a video of that on YouTube right now, so... It's very interesting stuff. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. This is Top Story. We'll be right back. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Just wanted to let you know that Clearwater Power Equipment is a new sponsor. Well, they started last week, so...
Still new. Why
They're kind
not?
of an old veteran now. A new sponsor of Top Story.
Yeah.
And they have the largest power equipment dealer in the Wood River Valley for over 10 years. And they decided that, you know what, maybe we should head for Twin Falls and set up a store there. So they did. They have sales, they have service, they have parts, they have a knowledgeable staff, and Clearwater Power Equipment only does power equipment, and that's why they do it best. All right, so they have a winter storage program, and I think this is very significant because how many of us have big riding lawnmowers, say, that just have to sit outside during the summer because we don't have any place to put it.
You don't have that third-car garage.
Yeah, I know, and that's kind of okay maybe during the summer, but when winter hits, you really ought to have it inside in order to get the maximum life out of it. They'll store it for you, and they'll also come and pick it up and deliver it. Give them a call and ask them about their storage program, 734-7767. They're at 252 Washington Street, right there where General Building Supply used to be. So easy to find.
There you go.
And they would be tickled to death to have you just stop in and say hi, if nothing else. See what they got. They got the Husqvarna. They've got Echo power equipment. And so if you need anything along those lines, they can help you out.
Yep. Call them.
So tell them Kelly and Jill sent you.
That's right.
I have to say, on Friday, you were kind of suffering a little bit.
I was suffering. I suffered through the weekend.
Did you know?
Yes, I did. And it's like, why on a weekend? I still feel a little congested, but I'm better.
You sound a little congested.
But I did go to the farmer's market on Saturday because I wanted to go. And, you know, it's funny. You can't hide your voice from anyone. I'm going to do a shout out to Courtney and to Dorothy, who, as I was talking to some of the vendors there, they, of course, recognized my voice. So you can't hide yourself.
That Fran Drescher voice?
Yeah, Kelly. Yeah. Anyway, so I went to the, they said I have a unique voice. I don't know what that means. Is that a Fran Drescher voice?
Well, I don't know. It's like when you're in high school, you know, and you say, oh, yeah, I know her. She's has a unique look.
Yeah. Yeah, people used to say I had a unique laugh in high school. People would imitate my laugh when I wasn't even in class. That was mortifying.
Well, what did they say? Imitation is the height of flattery or something like that.
Anyway, so it was a lot of fun. And I did go to Pat Lee's book signing at Barnes & Noble.
Very cool.
Very interesting man, met his lovely wife. And so it was nice. And anyway, what was I going to say? Anyway, that's what we did. And my Ohio State Buckeyes lost. First time in 35 years they've lost a home game. And when the announcer started the game saying, they haven't lost a home game in 35 years, their home opener, I looked at Tom, I go, tonight's the night. They just jinxed them. So, they lost, which really stunk. And, of course, our listener, his Trojans won, although that was a little bit of a crazy game. But anyway, so go USC. I know I wasn't too, supportive, but, you always want someone else's team to win. I want my team to win.
Yeah, well, yeah, above all.
And Kelly doesn't have a team.
I don't. No, I don't.
There you go. And Boise State won against Colorado State. So there you go.
They did. And I watched part of the Denver Bronco game last night against the Indianapolis Colts, and half the time they didn't have any audio from the announcers. I don't know what was going on there. So
we actually got to enjoy the game.
I'm just glad to know that we are not the only ones with technical difficulties sometimes. That even happens on a national scale.
Wow.
So,
see?
I kind of felt a little bit better.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
That's right. You got it. We have Dustin Godfrey coming up here in a little bit to tell us about the Wings and Things event with the Twin Falls Optimist Club. We have Randy Staples with the Idaho Political Update at 9 o'clock. Again, we'll be talking to Benito Baeza, who will be on site of the Scott Truax Eddie Braun jump site east of the Hansen Bridge. They're testing their rocket today to fly across the canyon, which is the 40th anniversary of the actual attempted jump by Evel Knievel, which is kind of significant. I guess they decided they didn't have enough time to actually make the jump on this anniversary date, so the second best would be they're going to give it a test.
And go to our website later because Benita will post the footage.
Right. And then at 9:20 we have Chris Anderson from the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium. So it's a full day today, but something that we haven't mentioned, oh my gosh, the Palace in England has confirmed that the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, and Prince William are indeed, ladies and gentlemen, expecting a child. Kate, who is in the very early stages of pregnancy, will give birth next year to a second child who will join Big Brother Prince George. So there you go.
There you go. For all those rumors that have been floating on the covers, and she didn't have wine in Canada, and she must be pregnant. She must not be pregnant, and the poor girl suffers such bad morning sickness that she's already having major troubles.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
I guess you know what causes it. So anyway. Moving along.
And if men were pregnant, they'd be one generation. That's it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised, and maybe rightfully so.
These poor
I don't
women,
know
what they go through.
I am sorry. I feel like being a man, I should apologize for this because I can't get pregnant. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
right.
Sorry. You'll
and
have
yet,
to talk.
how many men want to make decisions for us that can get pregnant?
Oh, gee whiz.
Exactly. What a shame. We're going to a break.
Yeah. We have Dustin Godfrey up next here on Top Story. And welcome back. 7360300 is the number to call. Welcome back, Jill.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Oh, good.
It's 55 right now, so it's a little warmer. I think it's going to start warming up a little bit now.
Oh, good.
So kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm not quite ready to turn loose of summer yet,
Okay.
but almost.
All righty.
We have Dustin Godfrey with us this morning from the Twin Falls Optimist Club. Hello, Dustin.
Good morning, Dustin.
So you have a big event coming up here soon.
We do. Saturday, we have our 4th annual Wings and Things Ultimate Tailgate Challenge down at the City Park from noon to 3.
How does that work? You say tailgate challenge.
So we have gone out and we've gotten participants, we've gotten some commercial places to just local.
People like me. I did the first
You
year.
did the first year, yeah.
I
so
did.
Just your average person can come in and we've got 5 different categories. We have wings, barbecue, chili, Dutch oven, and a no rules category. And you come.
So Jill must have gotten into the no rules
I
category.
was in Chile.
Oh, you were? Oh, okay.
Yes,
The meatless
Kelly.
chili. Meatless
Yes,
chili. Yeah.
my delicious vegetarian chili that lost that year. Anyway, go on. I still feel the pain.
The pain. So you buy a ticket and you come and all the money that we raise from ticket sales and so forth goes right back into the kids in the community. Here last year at the actual event, we gave away $4,500 back to schools.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great?
So
Yeah.
you get to sample all the food. $10 gets you a ticket and a wristband to go sample the food, and you get a vote for People's Choice. And then we
So
have
they don't vote for, when you say People's Choice, it's one coin for everyone.
yeah.
They
everyone,
don't
yeah.
vote on the best category.
Yeah, that's something we've changed this year. Last year we had a People's Choice in every category, but this year we decided we're going to just do one overall People's Choice.
And do you also have judges? Judges
We do have
judging?
judges.
Yeah.
Each participant gets judged in a category by a panel
Yeah.
of judges. So
Right.
they
That
get-
was my downfall. They said, "Where's the beef?" It's like, who needs the beef? Anyway, I'm not bitter.
So do you have a list of the judges so people can call them and
we try and keep them anonymous.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah,
Clearly,
okay.
for people like me.
And then we have a halftime show as well. So we've gotten some of the coaches from different sporting. We've got a basketball coach and some of the football coaches from some of the schools in the area that do a wing eating contest to try and get some money for their program. So
Oh, my.
I can't believe you didn't ask Kelly. So is it by a certain time?
I'm trying to cut down.
How many wings do they have to eat in a certain amount of time?
they have to eat. I believe it's 24. First one done.
24, first one done.
Yeah. So
Wow.
there's
That should
it's
take
not
a couple
within a
minutes.
time, but it takes them a couple minutes. So
That's it?
Yeah.
And
I was
who's
gonna say-
providing the wings?
Buffalo Wild Wings is sponsoring our halftime show for that. And then we also have you can show up wear your children's favorite school color or their school colors, and we've got a school spirit award that we give away to one of the schools, and they earn some money that way. And then we have burpees for bucks. Which after you eat all the food, you can go do burpees. Some people call them up downs. It's a way to.
What is that?
It's
They're burps, right?
What is it?
It's a physical movement. So you go down into like a push up, and then you have to jump back up and jump above your head. You'll see football players do them quite a
okay.
bit.
Like
so
squat
Alright.
thrust things
kind
like
of
that?
yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a full.
I thought you meant you were having a burping contest.
No.
Because
Do
that
you give
might
them
be
a-
something to consider.
Does everyone get some antacid when they leave, like some Malox or something from the heartburn they're going to have?
we may have to look for a sponsor. On
I
that,
think
so.
you need. I think that would be a cute sponsor.
So when they have this coaches eat thing with the wings, are they hot wings? Are they really, really hot?
They're not well.
Spicy,
spicy.
I mean.
There's kind of two parts to it because the first part is they're just honey barbecue for the 24, and then they have a chance to win some additional money, and they can substitute in or out with another coach, and they've kind of got all that worked out. But then they do the blazing challenge, which those are the really
How
hot
many
ones.
do
And
they
there's
have
only
to eat?
12 of those, so. But they can't drink anything or wipe their hands off with a napkin until all 12 are gone. So.
I see.
So are you trying to
then
get
you
rid-
have a flame-throwing contest.
Yeah,
after
they
that, then, huh?
should after that one. Those ones are.
Are you trying to get
those
rid of all the
smell hot.
coaches in the area? Is that the goal here?
It's it works out good. All the kids show up and they support their coaches, and it's a way for them to kind of get back at them and watch them go through some some work or some physical pain.
So this is when and where again?
Saturday from noon to 3 at the Twin Falls City Park.
And $10, right? Where do they get tickets?
You can get tickets. They're the same price at the event, so just show up to the event and you can get tickets. Or if you know an Optimus member, you can get tickets from them.
If anyone knows Dustin.
Yeah.
There you go. Are you guys going to show the game or any games while you're? Last time you had a big TV.
We'll have some TVs out there showing some of the games, so you won't.
I'm sure you'll show the Ohio State game, right? Dustin hates Ohio State.
Who are they playing?
Yeah, he's
it's
like,
not
it's
Ohio
not...
State, it's the Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly.
Ohio State, that's right. So we'll have the Oregon game on.
I'm sure you will. Okay.
All right.
Dustin, I hope it's a success.
Yeah, sounds like fun. Appreciate it.
All right.
Dustin Godfrey with the Twin Falls Optimist Club. We have Randy Staples next. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story, and welcome back. And this is the day that we have Randy Staples with the Idaho Political Update. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Randy.
Good morning.
Nice to hear from you again. We didn't get you in last week because of the holiday and everything, but now things should be back to semi-abnormal.
That would be about right. And
we're running on all cylinders. Yeah.
Now we're launched into political season with Labor Day behind us.
Yep, pretty much. Before we get into that, I was going to ask you, though, today apparently is the day that the Federal Appeals Court is taking on Idaho's lawsuit for the banning of gay marriage. Do you think it's going to turn out any differently for Idaho as it has for all the other states who have had their bans overturned?
I don't really think so. There's been a very clear pattern among the federal appeals courts on these issues. They've been pretty well united all the way down the line. The only real difference among them has been whether to allow the striking of the ban to go into effect immediately, as happened in Oregon and some other states, or as in Idaho to allow it to continue while the appeals process is going on. There's been that level of disagreement, but other than that, there really hasn't been much of one until it gets to the Supreme Court, which it inevitably will.
How long do you think that's going to take?
That may very well take another year or so. That's entirely possible, unless the Supreme Court decides for whatever reason to just simply put it on a fast track. But I would offhand not expect to see the oral arguments in the Supreme Court on this until sometime maybe next spring or so.
How much is Idaho spending on this? I know he reserved I think it was $1 to $2 million or something. Governor Otter did for this lawsuit.
It was about that. I would imagine that there could actually be some efficiencies though, as it moves up in the process and more states are kind of bunched together, because they can probably share some of the legal expenses. The arguments on each side of the case are pretty much the same for most all of the states. They're not really making different arguments very much. So there's no reason why each state has to strike out on its own. They should be able to get some efficiencies that way.
It just seems like a waste of money at this point. I think
however much it is.
Well, yeah, no matter what it is, it's a lost cause, I believe. I think with the other states that have turned, it just seems ridiculous that they would uphold this when they haven't on others. So I don't know. This is just a waste of money as far as I'm concerned.
That would be, I guess, a question for the legislature and for the governor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Sherry Ibarra. It seems like every time she makes a move, she stubs her toe. And first of all, it was not attending the meeting of the Idaho Association of School Superintendents. Yeah. Which really turned out to be kind of a bad deal. And then now she is apparently plagiarizing the website of her opponent right down almost to the letter. And I don't know. I don't know her. I don't know anything about her really, but it almost seems like she is trying to torpedo her own campaign. Is that a fair assessment, do you think, from someone, say, on the outside looking in would think about this?
Well, I can sure see why people would think so. I mean, as I've said before, I always hesitate to get into trying to read people's minds, but I can sure understand why people would wonder exactly that. At this point, it doesn't seem to be an unreasonable thing to wonder about. This has gotten pretty unusual. These problems that she's had have been self-inflicted, if not necessarily by her personally, then at least by her campaign. She's maintained that the website was put together not by her but by other people associated with the campaign, and that would no doubt be true. There are not a lot of candidates who write their own websites. Mostly they're either contracted out or some volunteer helps put them together, or maybe they pay for it. But nevertheless, this was kind of an odd way to go. The text was up on the website of her opponent, her Democratic opponent, Jana Jones, for, as I understand, at least 2 or 3 months before this her version, the Ibarra version, was up. That's it's hard to see how you could just do that accidentally.
I don't think so.
I could imagine maybe putting the best interpretation on it was that someone decided that they needed to get a website up. They just grabbed the material as a starting point from the Jones campaign and figured that, well, we'll use this as kind of a starting template and then we'll adjust it later. But that was really a mistake to begin with. They should never have allowed that to get up. That's a very significant error. The other thing that I'd mention is that plagiarism is the sort of thing that really has derailed a lot of candidates before. Everybody from Joe Biden back in '88.
Except Rand Paul. Somehow he hasn't been derailed, and he's done it 6 or 7 times, which is interesting.
He's managed to get by so far, but see what happens when the presidential race kicks in. Up in Montana, the Democratic candidate for Senate, actually the incumbent senator up there, his campaign, he had to drop out of his campaign because of plagiarism.
Right. It's interesting. Also on Sherry Ibarra's website, she also had that Randy Jensen had basically endorsed her, and that wasn't true either.
Yes, there was that problem as well.
Yeah,
and that's even a little bit harder to understand, or harder to come up with a plausible, relatively innocent explanation for. But I guess the still one other thing about it is that of all the areas in our society where plagiarism is kind of a big issue and an area of real concern, one of the biggest is in education. Concern about students, who might engage in plagiarism. It's a problem in the days of Google and the internet, and here we have a candidate for the highest education office in the state who's apparently done exactly that.
I know if anyone knows plagiarism, it's usually high school teachers. A lot of kids get nailed for that. Yeah. So anyway,
my wife was always catching that when she was a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This is crazy, but
so I go back to my original question, and it's probably a rhetorical question at this point. Is she trying to sabotage her own campaign? I'm wondering if she isn't having second thoughts about this.
Well, given how this has gone, maybe she is by this point, because since I think she may have thought after winning the primary, which was a primary that very few other Republicans expected that she was going to win. Maybe at this point she's starting to wondering what have I got myself into?
Yeah.
She is going to do debates though, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that will be interesting to see. That will be a very interesting debate. In all of this, we've heard very little about what it is that she does or doesn't want for Idaho schools, and the debate will give her at least an opportunity to get into those kind of policy measures.
And speaking of debates, Governor Otter dropped out of the Twin Falls debate, but they're still going to have it with Bujak and Belukoff. Do you think this is going to hurt him?
I tend to doubt it, just because it didn't seem to hurt him that much in the primary. Although the other part of it is that the other debates that he will have, it's a little hard to criticize him for not participating in debates just as such, because he will be, at least he's scheduled to be, in a number of other debates. But my understanding of them is that they will be debates kind of like the primary debates, in which you have a whole bunch of candidates, and it's not just Otter and Belikov. It's Otter and Belikov and pro-life, and I think 2 or 3 Bujak and maybe somebody else. So the time that the 2 major candidates will be very limited in these debates that are coming up, and I think that may have been what the reason why he dropped out of the Twin Falls debate, was because it was intended that be kind of a two-way, 2-person debate.
Well, and another thing, too, we can criticize, and when I first heard about it, I thought, well, gee, that's kind of odd. But when you stop and think about it, with our commercial communications we have today with radio and TV and satellite, it doesn't really make any difference where they're at, because everybody's going to be able to see them anyway.
That's true.
Well, but if he doesn't participate in the one, I think he should have participated in the one down here. I mean, he comes down here for the fair. He comes down and, cuts ribbons and refers to it as the Miracle in the Magic Valley, but you can't show up for debate. I don't know. I think he should have come down here. I do. Well,
one comment that I heard from one person was, if you could have 2 in Boise, why not have one in Boise and one in Twin Falls?
Right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see in November if it hurts him.
Yeah. It's I'm still a little bit dubious about that, but we'll see how it goes.
It looks as though, at least in polls, and I don't know how much you can trust polls, especially after the who was it in Virginia that lost when they said it was?
Eric Cantor. He was up by 34%.
But the latest, a latest poll that was just released, or a memo from a poll that was just released by the Nels Mitchell candidate, who's running for U.S. Senator against Senator Jim Risch, the public policy polling shows that Senator Risch is losing ground, with 39% saying that they would vote to re-elect Senator Risch, 49% saying it's time for someone new. So given all the variables of a poll, should this be of a concern for Senator Risch at this point in the game?
Well, I think one thing that you have to bear in mind with that with the memo is that it came from a campaign, and campaigns release what they want to release, and they will release the parts of it that kind of support their case. You may notice that one of the statistics that was not released, polling data item that wasn't released, is the head-to-head numbers, the numbers of would you vote for Risch or would you vote for Mitchell?
Yeah.
And that was not included. And I would have to suspect it was not included because the numbers weren't all that favorable. What I would tend to draw from the poll, assuming that the numbers are somewhere in the area of accuracy, is that Risch isn't necessarily all that popular,
right?
And I think there's some basis for thinking that may be true, but whether that necessarily translates to Mitchell being able to beat him is another matter.
Well, I think also that article in the Statesman that he did, I mean, basically saying he's retired in the Senate. I just thought that was awful. And I know Mitchell's using some of that in his campaign material, but, you don't see Risch around too much, and only around really election time. I don't know if they're going to debate. Do you know if they're going to debate, Randy?
I think that one has been set up. I can't recall what the time or place is, but I believe that there has been one set up.
Mm-hmm.
But there again, in all of that, if you see numbers that suggest that Risch isn't all that popular, that may very well be true. Yeah. But if you don't see out of something like this numbers that show that really directly show Mitchell gaining on Risch, then there may be a reason why you're not seeing that.
Yeah, it can once again come down to the point: are people willing to vote for a Democrat because they don't think the Republican is the very best candidate, especially in the state of Idaho? So It's going to be telling here in the next few weeks.
This will be interesting, especially since Risch really, with his decision as governor, has affected the schools. Everyone's having a hard time with the bonds and levies because he changed the format of where you get the income from. So I think people, they do mention that. It was Risch's fault.
Well, Randy, we're out of time. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next Monday.
We'll talk to you then.
Bye, Randy. Thank you.
That's Randy Staples from Reidenbaugh Press at reidenbaugh.com. You can check him out there. And coming up next hour, going to be talking to Benito Baeza, who will be on scene where the rocket test launch test is going on today. It's the 40th anniversary of the actual jump. So we'll see how it goes. We'll talk to Benito this next hour. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Top Story, 7360300, always the number to call. And good morning, Jill. Welcome back.
Thanks, Cal. Same to you.
For the benefit of those watching our KLIXcast, I have a friend here who's with our ham radio club.
Yes.
And his name is Terry.
Yes. Yeah. And he's also indirectly somehow, I don't even know, is it real?
Weird relationship.
They all are, aren't they, Terry? Something with marriage and my family, so it's kind of like indirectly.
Yeah, it's kind of like old home week here.
I don't know.
6 degrees from Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, but 6 degrees from Terry.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, he just wanted to come in and kind of see how it went. And
yeah, because you guys talked about it. You went to lunch with him at the airport last Thursday. Is that the usual thing?
Yeah, he shows up on Thursdays every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while.
So Terry, you wanted to see how the magic worked? This is
see how the magic worked.
I hope you're not sorely disappointed.
Well, I'll find out Thursday at the next lunch.
Yeah, clearly. Remember, we're related, sort of. Be nice.
So, at any rate, we're waiting for a report from Benito, our news director, who is out at the test site with the Sky Cycle that will be used to propel Eddie Braun across the Snake River Canyon sometime within probably the next few months.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the 40th anniversary of Evel Knievel's jump, and they weren't able to make the actual jump today, so they decided, well, they would at least like to have a test on this date. So that's what they're gearing up to do. The test is supposed to take place a little later this morning, and so our news director, Benito Baeza, is there to
and he'll film it. It's going to be on our website, newsradio1310.com, a little bit later.
And hopefully we will have a report from him here very shortly.
But you know how it's live radio.
I think he had a little delay in getting there.
Did he?
And that he said that he knew where it was, but I don't think he knew as well as he thought he did.
I asked him, are you sure you know where this is? No, I know where it is. I said, because, I looked for it the other day. I started trouble. But then you guys just mock me because I'm not from here or something, and I don't know directions.
I just wanted to tell Benito.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just wanted to tell Benito out in that area, just look for the 80-foot launch ramp and head for it. You'll find him. So,
well, I thought I would find it too anyway. Hopefully we'll get a report.
Yes. Yeah. One thing that you kind of perked my interest on during the break.
Yes.
You said something about a light that you saw over the weekend. I'm always intrigued when people say that they saw weird lights.
Well, I was laying in bed and we were just going to sleep, and I saw this. It was like something was blinking on me, and I thought, wait, I don't have my phone. I thought something was under the covers. And so I went to the window and I opened up the shades further, and I saw the cell tower. It had a red light on there. And then next to it, it was like this big white light, almost like the size of the moon, but it wasn't, going on and off and just kind of steady. And I said, Tom, what is that? Of course, he's like, I don't know. I'm going to sleep. He was too tired. But, I'm like, we only have 2 flights a day. It didn't look like a plane. It was too big of a white light. Did anyone else see it? And it kept blinking on me as I was sleeping.
So this was to the west or to the east?
It was to the west.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was to the northwest. And it was like I could see the cell tower because, Tom's like, it's the cell tower. I said, no, the cell tower's to the right of it. It's like this white, and it kind of was blinking, and literally was blinking on me as I was laying in my bed. I don't know.
Maybe it was the aliens trying to beam you up.
Maybe.
Why in heaven's name, I don't know. But
of course they would want me.
Yeah, right.
I'm an anomaly. Jewish,
Oh, that's-
vegetarian, Democrat living in Idaho. Doing a talk radio show. Why? I don't know, because no one agrees with me. I don't know. They're probably like, let's take this poor woman out of her condition. We could examine her. I don't know. I mean, it was really weird. And I'm like, I couldn't have been the only one to see this thing. But it was after the time we would have anything land. We have 2 flights a day now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was weird. It was a lot larger than a normal light. So anyway,
Well, that's interesting.
it wasn't. And then I thought, well, maybe it's the the jumpers are working. And I'm like, no, it's not. That was to the east. This was definitely like northwest. Mm-hmm. Odd.
Well, I know there is a couple of cell towers northwest of your house, and there are 2 of them right next to each other. So was the white light higher than the red flashing light?
No, the red light wasn't flashing. It was just red. No, it was almost about the same size.
The red light wasn't flashing either?
No, it was a big white one was flashing. The red one was kind of steady, It
Okay.
wasn't like this. It was odd.
So the white one was flashing?
Yeah, big. It was a big white light.
Okay, was it...
It wasn't like a little planet white light.
Was it like on,
Yeah.
off?
Yes.
On, okay.
Yeah, because it was blinking on me. I'm like, what
Okay.
is this? This is odd.
Okay, well, okay. I
thought there was
probably a cell
I thought
tower.
there was an emergency vehicle out front. No, this was a big light. It wasn't like a
Oh.
small, tiny white light. This was like a moon-sized light.
Wow.
Yes. I was perplexed.
Because that
But
that
not
is the
perplexed enough
same-
to not go to sleep.
Well, that is the same general area where I saw a few years ago those green flashing orbs that were moving along and crossing the highway. And it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. And to this day, I don't know what they were.
Well, I've never seen it before, and I've slept there for 11 years now, and that's the first time.
You live in an interesting area.
I live in an interesting world, Connie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jill's world. I don't know what it was.
Maybe someone else saw
What do
that
you
light
think,
too, and
Terry?
will give us a call.
You're part of a hammer. Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
I have no idea
7360300 in case anyone else saw Jill's light.
Tom was too tired to even be curious. He's just like, I'm tired. I go, do you want to look at this? No.
It is interesting. Whenever there is something like a weird anomaly like that, I'm always interested. I don't care
Yeah,
how
I mean,
tired
Gracie
am.
saw it because I kind of peeked up in bed. She was looking out the window, and I stood up, and she kind of looks at me going, like, what? I go, I don't know. And I looked out. I don't know. It was weird. Anyway, if anyone else, maybe Chris Anderson has some answers.
Yeah, maybe.
He'll go, it's a planet.
Maybe it had something to do with that asteroid that
It was
flew
way
past the
larger
Earth.
than a planet. It was almost like moon size. And then when I went out to the kitchen, I went to get some water. It was so light, and I looked, and the moon was so bright. So I don't know what the heck.
Wow.
Weird.
And you never thought to take a picture of it with your camera?
No, I
cell
was
phone.
going to go to bed. I was in bed. I
know,
don't
but
have my
mean-
phone near my bed. I just, no, I didn't think about it. I'm not one of those people.
Obviously.
When I see something horrible or tragedy, I don't go, oh, let me grab my camera.
Well, but something perplexing
I know,
like
I
that.
didn't-
I mean,
no,
you could
I
take
just
a picture
didn't-
of
I didn't
it,
think
and
of
then,
it.
And then you could show people, and
Then
they
I
wouldn't
could
say,
show
"Oh,
it.
you're just crazy."
Well,
You'd
maybe-
have proof.
If it's tonight and it happens again, I'll be prepared now that you told me to do this. I'll take a
Okay.
video of
Yeah,
it.
would you please?
I'll take a video.
That would be very cool. Yeah.
I'll say, Gracie, can you hold this while Mommy sleeps? Push the button.
Wow. That's weird. Okay.
No, it was weird.
Okay.
Do we
I
have
think
Benito?
I'm getting a message. Oh, okay.
What?
Well, apparently the 2 principals of interest here are not on site yet.
Huh.
So.
Well, they have their other people there, so. I mean, it's not going to go off till 10, so whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I told him 10, so 10. Do you want me to text the 2 principals and go, when are you getting on site?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, I'll text them right now.
That's up to you. So, at any rate.
Okay. So anyway, we'll see what happens if I get an answer.
Maybe we're not going to have a report from there. There's nothing to report on.
I don't know.
So at first it was going to be at 8 and then at 10, but
well, we still have after Huckabee. If there's something, it's closer to 10.
yeah.
I'm just texting them now to see when they're getting to the site.
Okay.
And so Benito's definitely at the site.
Apparently Benito is definitely
knows
at
he's
the
there.
site. Yeah.
Is there a rocket on the thing? On the launch pad?
I don't know. I don't know if he's listening or not. He's probably
Maybe
not
Benito
listening.
should call us.
Maybe I can I'll
See,
ask
Terry,
him.
this is how it works. It's total chaos. This is how it works. There's no magic. The
Yeah.
magic is we actually get on the air every day. That's the magic.
chaos.
Yeah, oh yeah, it always is. But that's what makes it interesting. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
And it's live radio.
You can't beat
so
live
when you're-
radio. What's
yeah,
better than that?
So when you're waiting for someone
Yeah.
to be there, and it's live, it's just
Okay.
that's what it is.
Gary and those guys said they'll be there in 20 minutes, so I don't know what Benito's doing.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. Well,
we'll have a report probably after Huckabee.
probably so.
Okay,
All
so
right.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that. But apparently, definitely, the testing is going to take place today.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got their people in. They're doing it.
So I wonder where you can observe this from. Probably just about
Somewhere
anywhere
in
out
Hanson.
there. If
I mean,
a
it's right
rocket
over
goes up into the sky, you'll probably be able to see it from just about anywhere.
Well, it's right beyond the Hanson Bridge, so
Yeah.
anyone you could be at that gas station. You'd be on 84. You'll be driving. You'll see this thing.
So anybody with a video camera will be able to videotape it.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, I'm glad Benito's there early.
Yeah, me too.
It's always good to be prompt.
I know. Better to be there early than to be late.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, as he comes back, he goes, "I missed the rocket launch." What? You missed what? Yeah, I looked away.
Well, interestingly, 40 years ago today, when I was calling the Evel Knievel jump, I was at the first house west of the launch pad. I could not hear anything that was going on. And back then, heavens, we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have the personal communication devices that we do today. And so I was just kind of going along, waiting for something to happen, and I was sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, the thing went up in the sky, and I was kind of like taken by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, there it is, it's up in the air. It was all just, I didn't have a countdown or anything because I couldn't hear what was going on. They did have a countdown from what I understand on site, but I couldn't hear that.
Wow.
So
you were just lucky you were able to call it.
I know, and it was interesting. And when I went back and watched the videos of it on YouTube, I was kind of I got some pictures of that at home. I don't have any movies of it, but I do have pictures. You should have been submitting it.
You got to post them on our Facebook.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to look for
our
those.
website.
I'll have to see if I can find those.
Yeah. Does anyone have a picture of you?
No.
That would have been
then,
awesome.
It was a totally different world back then. We didn't have people running around with cameras taking pictures of them standing in line at Fred Meyer,
No,
and we just didn't do that. Like
or what
they
you
do
ate
now.
that day.
Or what you ate that
this
day.
Is my
or what
lunch.
you're about to eat today.
I know.
Or
Who
anything.
cares?
So we don't have very many pictures from back in those days.
That's right. Well, Terry, would your first instinct, if you were trying to fall asleep and this thing blinking, I need to go grab your phone and video it, would that be your first instinct?
I would probably be more like your husband.
See, I knew you guys were related.
Wake me up later.
Yeah. Well, I know nowadays that if there's an accident or something, or somebody falls in the river and they're being washed down the river, there's everybody on the sidelines taking a video of it, but nobody is sticking their hand in the river to try to help the poor people.
I know.
So,
well, okay, so tonight I'll be prepared.
We run into.
I'll try to videotape it if it happens tonight.
Yeah, do that. That'll be weird. And that'll be funny.
Tom will say, "What are you doing?" Oh, it's for Kelly.
Yeah,
go back
that's
to sleep.
Then we'll post it and we'll let everybody see if they know what it is.
Yeah.
All right, we got Chris Anderson next from the CSI Harrod Center and Planetarium.
How can this
7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Friday's $100 instant winning name is Paul Luker.
Paul Luker, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today is knit.
Knit.
K-N-I-T.
Knit.
Not N-I-T-T. It's K-N-I-T.
Please don't tell me someone even spell it like N-I-T-T. Please,
well, you got nitwit,
Well,
so.
and you got the little
Nittany lions.
The little baby louse is a knit, right?
Oh, of course. Everyone would know that.
But that's only with one T.
Oh, of course.
I did not know that.
It's a trick question.
Anyway, you can go to our website, newsradio1310.com, click on Word of the Day, type in knit, K-N-I-T, and listen tomorrow. If you hear your name tomorrow and you played the word today, you can win $100.
Who says you don't learn anything on this show, right?
I know, absolutely. And we're just getting ready to learn a bunch more. We have with us Chris Anderson from the CSI Harrod Center and Planetarium. How you doing, Chris?
You can't help but love
Mugging
that
for
theme
camera
song.
on the radio doesn't work, does it?
No. That's right. That's right. Well, to start things off, wanted to ask you about the near hit
Yes.
that we had
Yes,
with that asteroid that flew past Earth.
Yeah, this was an asteroid. It was about 60 feet wide, which is, definitely not big enough to cause any sort of major catastrophe. If consider that the one that blew up over Russia, Chelyabinsk, a couple years ago, was somewhat smaller than that. So we're talking, yeah, I mean, it could have caused some local disturbances to be sure, but not like the thing that killed the dinosaurs. And the closest it came was 25,000 miles, which is roughly 3 Earth diameters, which is a pretty safe distance. So nothing to really worry about. I mean, there was really no concern this thing was going to hit us.
But then they said, how come they didn't know about it till like a week out?
Well, so consider, I mean, this thing's 60 feet wide. Most asteroids are quite dark. In fact, some of them are as dark as charcoal.
Okay.
So something that small just doesn't reflect very much sunlight, and therefore it's really hard to see until it gets really, really
Still
close.
It gets close.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, and there could be things like that zipping by all the time. We'd hardly have any way of knowing it, especially if they happen to zip by on the daytime side of the Earth. We wouldn't see them in the glare of the sun.
So really, if there was a really big one, you don't really have much time at all. I mean, you can't get into your jets like, Bruce Willis or someone.
Well, that's the thing. The bigger they are.
And destroy the asteroid.
The bigger they are, the farther away we're going to be able to detect them, for sure. But yeah, I mean, NASA's been finding for some time now that there's a lot more of these little ones wandering around out there than anyone really realized. So.
And it hit like in Nicaragua, I guess.
We have a caller. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. Frank Pepper here.
Frank Pepper, you're a winner.
Frank, we've been trying to get a hold of you.
What would you do if you got a hold of me? That's what I'd like to know.
Or arrange what time you want to go for lunch.
I hear that Fridays are always the best day.
It doesn't matter.
Not necessarily. I tell you what, would it be okay if we called you after the show today and kind of arrange that?
It'd have to be this afternoon because I'm calling from outside my house of residence.
I gotcha. Okay. Well,
but that's fine. We can we'll make arrangements a little bit later. Tomorrow would be all right.
Okay, we'll give you a call tomorrow.
All right.
Well, thank you, Frank.
Thanks,
we're glad you're alive. We were
that's
getting to worry about you.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, we'll call you tomorrow. Thanks, Frank.
All right. Okay.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, good. I'm glad we heard from him.
At least I thought maybe he really didn't want to win.
He was the winner of our free lunch with Kelly and Jill at the Canyon Crest Dining and Event Center.
Maybe he was having some remorse. I don't know. Oh, no, I won? I didn't expect to win. Did I really expect to win? Anyway, so what were we talking about?
Well, you were saying, Kelly, Jill, that you
yeah.
thought the asteroid hit, but no, it was a clean miss.
What was the mysterious explosion that rocked Nicaragua's world?
I actually
did you not hear about that? No. They thought it was something that had broken off or something. Isn't that what they said,
It was a meteorite that hit in downtown Managua, Nicaragua.
Huh.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because it was right next to some government buildings. So the first thing you would think of would be sabotage or something.
Sure.
But they claim that it was a meteorite.
Well, that should be something that shouldn't be too hard to determine when it gets right down to it. So
we were saying, why not Syria? If you could only direct these things to a place,
Well, and people have talked about that. NASA's talked about one of their next goals will be to capture a small asteroid. We're talking about one that's, probably about the size or smaller even than this one that just went zipping by, and try to bring it close and put it into orbit around the moon for close study. But, as soon as you say that, people start thinking in sci-fi terms. It's like, boy, what a great weapon that would make if you could direct it anywhere you wanted it.
How could you capture it, like with a net? Like, how could you stop a thing like that?
They've actually talked about it. Well, it's not a matter of stopping. It's a matter of simply changing its speed and direction so that it goes the way you want it to go.
Like bumping it?
Well, so they're talking about literally like having a giant inflatable thing that surrounds it. And then they have rockets that would then direct it where they want it to go. But the whole trick is finding one whose motion to begin with is not that different from what you ultimately want it to be. So you're not going to go out and find one that's zipping at some enormous velocity in some horrible direction that would make it really hard to get it where you want it to go. You got to find one that's already close to where you want it to go and just nudge it a little bit to get it where you want it to go.
Now, is Ben Affleck in this movie?
Yeah. I hope not.
Are you serious?
A week or so ago,
we watched
Deep Impact, which was the same. I told my wife, I says, this is just a remake of Armageddon, really.
That being said, Deep Impact got a lot more right than Armageddon did. Armageddon had so much that was just grossly
Was it the
wrong.
Love Story? I don't know.
No, that was actually the most plausible part.
All right. We'll be right back with Chris Anderson from the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. I tell you what, we're kind of getting plugged up here a little bit, so I need to tell you something. I need to tell you about Infrared Baron from Far More of Idaho, where they'll fly over your fields, they'll take infrared photography, they'll send you those photos on your computer, and then you can take steps to fix any anomalies that you might see. You might just think that your field is being watered properly. It might not be. Well, if you can see with infrared photography from above what's actually happening, you can take steps to fix it. 324-3341 is the number to call. You can catch them online at farmoreofidaho.com. Get a hold of them and tell them that you're interested in that infrared Baron that Kelly and Jill have been talking about. We have Chris Anderson with us from the CSI Harrod Center and Planetarium. We also have Benito Baeza, who's now calling in from the test site of where they will be test launching the rocket for the jump over the Snake River Canyon coming up soon. Good morning, Benito.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Actually, to clarify, it's actually not a launching. They're not going to actually shoot the rocket across the canyon.
Oh, okay.
They're actually going to test the engine, of course, the device that's going to get the rocket across the canyon. Right now, they have it anchored to the launch pad and the launch tower right now. So they're testing the engine in place, and so it won't actually go across the canyon today. But it's a pretty important test for them as return to the Snake River as they're attempting again to recreate what Evil did 40 years ago, except this time they'll be successful and actually get across the canyon.
So is the engine different than the one they had before, Benito, or is it the same specs?
As far as I know, they're pretty much similar specs, but I think, given the modern technology, modern times, they've updated quite a few things. Talking with one of the crew members, there's safety protections for the actual pilot. Well, it's not really a pilot. You just kind of sit there along for the ride, but there's actually a cage in there that should, if anything go wrong, or even on landing, as this rocket comes down, it'll protect the guy driving it or riding it, so to speak. It's been updated to kind of the modern standards, but if you could say there is any standards for anything like this, but they're still staying true to the original rocket as well in certain ways. Truex just got here, so they're setting up and getting ready for the test. So it's a beautiful morning for doing it. It's not hot and it's a little overcast, but I guess a pretty good morning to do this.
Yeah, if I remember on the actual day 40 years ago, it was about the same. It was a warm afternoon, so. And I don't know if I would imagine that the temperature of the air, with the density, altitude, and all that kind of stuff, if that plays in to how much power they're going to need to when they actually shoot the thing across the canyon, you might ask them that at some point if density, altitude plays any kind of a role.
Yeah, we'll get certainly more information, and they've kind of changed a few things. They're going to go a little bit farther than originally planned when they're first starting it up. I mean, there's 3 parachutes on this rocket that just in case one doesn't work, the other one's going to pick it up, and if another one doesn't work, they'll have another one to catch it. But, I mean, we're talking, just a few thousand feet and not a whole lot of time to react, so it's going to be a very quick trip, and it may be eternity for the guy riding it, but I think it certainly be a spectacle, and I think even the test just today of the engine and the rocket to see how it all comes together will certainly be interesting to see.
Benito, I have one quick question. I know, does the time of day matter? I mean, if they're going to be shooting it in the afternoon, but they're testing it in the morning, will that affect the test results?
I'm not sure about that. I would imagine wind conditions and all that, and I don't know if they want to be facing the sun or not facing the sun. I'm not sure it's quite like a hot air balloon where you need the cooler temperature.
I know. I didn't know if the cooler affects an engine differently than a hot environment. I don't know.
We'll have to find out. We'll be out here.
That.
Yeah, and I'll have everything, the whole test, on our website, newsradio1310.com. I'll have video up there of it, of what's going on and how it comes and turns out.
And you'll interview Eddie Braun and Gary Davis. They said they were.
Yeah, they're out here. They're working on it, so I'll certainly talk to them, and we'll have more. Again, newsradio1310.com.
All right. Appreciate it, Benito. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right.
Thanks, Benito.
There you go. Benito Baeza on scene of the test. So,
just from a physics standpoint,
yes.
my guess is that the outside temperature isn't going to make much difference.
It won't matter.
Well, just because if you think about the high temperatures and pressures they're raising it up to, Right.
Yeah.
A few degrees here and there is going to be a drop in the bucket compared to the overall temperatures that steam's going to need to be to fire the rocket. So I would think it's not going to make much difference. So.
And I want it to be the same with the density altitude, because I know with pilots it makes a big difference if you take off in the middle of a hot afternoon as opposed to a cool morning. You know, there's a whole lot of physics at play there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there could be some additional drag if there happens to be, a high pressure zone going through and that sort of thing, but probably not enough to make a really big difference. It's a pretty short flight,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
With a pilot, it's like it's over hours of flight. Yeah, it's going to put additional drag on the aircraft.
Do you remember the original jump?
I do. I was a little kid. My brothers actually made their own model rockets that looked just like the Evel Knievel rocket and launched it that same day. And I remember because it went in the neighbor's gutter.
Was there so was that considered a success?
Well, and now consider,
Did the chute come out too early?
Consider I was not living in Idaho at the time. I was a kid back in northern Illinois. So this was definitely a national deal, not just a local deal.
Absolutely, or even worldwide.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, Chris, we'll get back to more stuff. What's going on at CSI when we come back here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call, man. A lot going on today, huh?
Yeah.
We're going to get back to Chris Anderson with the CSI Harrod Center and Planetarium here soon. But first, I just wanted to mention that there's a new pawn shop in town, but it's kind of getting to the point where they're not real new anymore. They've been around a while.
Yeah.
They've been around a few weeks, and that's Canyon Pawn on Shoshone Street, right across the street from Will's Toyota. Nice, clean store, locally owned, brand new and used items, lots of miscellaneous stuff, fishing poles, tools, woodworking equipment, recreational equipment. They've got guns, they've got ammo. You need to stop in and check out your chance to win a Savage 17 HMR with AccuTrigger at Canyon Pawn. And tell Dave Hansen and the crew that you heard Kelly and Jill talking about it.
We keep talking about going to lunch and going
know.
over there, and we haven't done it yet. Afterwards, we're going to have to pick a date.
I know, we are.
Okay.
Chris, I know you came in with a lot of information, and the
We've
phone is
ignored
ringing,
you.
but I tell you what, we're just going to go ahead and let you talk now. Tell us what's coming up.
Okay, so for art fans, two different things. We've got a new art gallery exhibit just opened last week. It's multimedia collages by Ross Coates called Overtime 2, and it's really interesting stuff. There's a certain whimsy to it. They're definitely very different from things you've seen before. So that'll be in the Gene B. King Gallery, and that's free, of course. We also have the paintings by Gary Stone depicting the life of Jimmy Iverson, who was a boy who was kidnapped by Indians back in the 1800s and then later returned. And so this was Gary Stone's imagining of what his life with the natives might have been like.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a whole bunch of paintings, and those have been very popular. We've decided to extend that through the end of the month. Then, coming up this Saturday is our monthly free star party. So it'll be a good night to be out looking through the telescope. There's a comet in the sky right now. We were actually looking at it this last Saturday. You can literally see the thing moving in the eyepiece from 1 minute to the next.
Oh.
It was quick.
Does it blink?
No. We also,
fine.
coming up on the 17th is our first Harrod Forum lecture for the season. Probably the longest title for a Harrod Forum lecture. So here goes. As rugged as the terrain, CCC boys, federal convicts, and World War II alien internees wrestle with a mountain wilderness.
Did you come up with that?
I did not.
Whoever did, they're not a marketing genius.
Yeah, it's by Priscilla Weggers will be giving the talk. She's at U of I's Asian American Comparative Collection. That's at 7:30 on the 17th, which is a Wednesday, and those are always free. We've got a primitive skills class coming up. This has been one of our most popular ones we ever offer,
aren't they?
which is how to make fire without, your Bic lighter. And so that'll be coming up on the 20th, and that'll be from 1:30 to 4:30, $20 to learn the different techniques there. And then coming up later this month, the astronomy talk is about the Rosetta Comet Orbiter and Lander mission. This is the one that actually is visiting this comet, the one that looks like a rubber duck from a distance. And now they've seen that it's got two giant masses kind of stuck together. They're trying to figure out where they're going to put their little lander on the surface of it. So this talk will be all about what they've learned up to this point and the plans for dropping the lander on its surface in November. So that talk will be on Thursday, the 25th, and it's $250 for adults, $150 for students. It's in the planetarium, so we're going to do my best to actually show you the orbits of the comet in space in the solar system, fly you around through it using the new Digistar.
Wow.
And
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, so
it's a busy month then.
It is a busy month. And
we're back.
Next month, even better. I'll be here just in time when I come back for my next visit to talk about 2 eclipses next month. We'll be able to see and hear in Twin Falls.
Very exciting.
Well, after all that, we got a call. Let's see who it is. Top Story, you're on the air with Chris Anderson.
Hello, Chris, Kelly,
Good
Jill.
morning.
Yes?
This is Jim. I just thought I'd call and tell you about the density altitude of that rocket.
Oh, Jim, hey, yeah.
Okay, make it quick because we're running
We
out
got
of time.
2 minutes.
It's a steam-powered jet, so the density altitude won't affect the thrust, just the lifting surfaces. That's all.
Okay.
So very little.
So do you have to have a little more thrust then if you're going to lose some of that lifting surface?
Only if you really have a prop, a propeller.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good enough. Now we know. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
I figured that somebody would call.
Our listeners are
I
always
think
the best.
it's probably going to be following mostly a ballistic trajectory. It doesn't have a lot in the way of wings to give it any lift.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Mostly just keep it from going off course. But
so now these eclipses coming up, are those what do they call them? Blue moon eclipses, or what is it?
Well, there was the blood moon eclipse that they talked about.
Blood moon, that's what it is.
Yes, technically one of these will be a blood moon eclipse, although
good.
I personally don't put much stock in the whole blood moon thing. But
it'll put all the newscasters just in a crazy thing.
Well, and for that matter, this moon coming up tomorrow is a supermoon. And well, how super are supermoons? Guess how many there will be next year?
How many?
6 supermoons next year.
So what does supermoon really mean?
It means, that it is 90% of the distance from the most distant moon to the least distant moon or more. So it'll be within 10% of the closest of the moon.
So they're brighter. Are they're brighter?
They're slightly brighter and
Last night it was
bigger.
bright.
Just because they are about 10% closer.
Yeah, but it's honestly, I could put up if I could somehow show you a regular moon and a supermoon side by side in the sky, you'd have a hard time telling the difference.
Well, it was pretty bright last night.
Such a tiny difference between the two.
Well, we're talking about 500,000 miles, right?
Well, no, 250,000.
A quarter million. Oh,
yeah, 250,000 to the moon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the amount it varies is, we're talking a few percent, really. So
Yeah.
like 7% difference between a regular moon and a supermoon. That's pretty small, especially when you consider that the moon is half the width of your pinky at arm's length. That's a little, imagine half the width of your pinky or 7% smaller than half the width of your pinky. It's a very small difference to notice. So
my pinky's really small, though. really small.
But your arm is also smaller.
Yes.
Therefore,
it's relative.
Exactly.
It's all relative.
Right. So you have a smaller pinky. You also have a shorter arm. Therefore, half the width of your pinky at arm's length is probably very similar to half the width of my pinky at my arm's length.
Wow.
Really?
All right. Well, hey, we're
You
out of
learned
time. Thanks,
something
Chris.
new.
So we'll look
Thanks,
forward to
Chris.
talking to you then.
Okay.
And right now it's time for the Huckabee Report. And you can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed, Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger, financial advisors. And the number is 736-6563. Benito is standing by to do another report for us, and I have to call him here. But before that, I need to tell you that if you are interested in a low and honey loader from Stanley & Company, to get a hold of Pat Hartzell and his crew at 280-1167. I say his crew. Actually, Pat is kind of a one-man working machine here. Yeah. So if you think that a low and honey loader would be a good addition to your feedlot operation, and I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't, then you need to get a hold of him at Stanley & Company, and he can get you in touch with one of these feedlots that has one that is in operation. You can see it work and make it happen. And he can make that happen at 280-1167. Pat Hartzell is his name. Okay, now, the Huckabee Report was over actually quicker than I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to call Benito here real quick because he's got another report ready to go for us from the launch site of the Sky Cycle, which will be jumping across the Snake River Canyon here in the next little while. Well, I say a little while, I mean months. All right?
We're not sure when.
All right, so...
Good morning, it's Benito.
Hi, Benito.
Hey.
This is Kelly.
And
Hey,
Jill.
good morning.
We are on the air.
Good morning.
So tell us where you're at, what you're doing there.
Well, hey, we're here. A lot more people showed up. I've got the man himself that's going to jump in this machine, this amazing piece of machinery. Kind of tell me, Eddie Braun, what this means to you for today and what it means for the whole team.
Hi, are we live?
We're live, Eddie.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody here in Twin Falls. They've treated me wonderfully. I went to Starbucks this morning, and even there they were really nice. But no, I have goosebumps. I mean, 40 years ago today, Evel Knievel attempted something, and now 40 years later, we're going to fulfill that dream.
Okay, so what's going on today, and what's it going to mean for you and the team too?
Today, I'm here with Kelly Knievel, Evel's oldest son, and we are going to witness a static thrust test, which is crucial just to cross-check with all our information that I have enough power for enough duration to get over the canyon. So today is a very critical test, and we're really confident it'll be fine. The machine is on the ramp, as you can clearly see. No, it's just a great day. It's awesome. It's like goosebumps day.
I imagine. So looking at the amount of work that went into this, how much are you staying true to the actual engineering of the original rock and what we see new today?
Oh, we're being very true. The blueprints, I mean, anybody could come out here with a carbon fiber, high-tech, solid, and, we put people on the moon with that technology. But this is the technology that Evil had, done the way Evil did it, with a steam-powered motor. It's very green, by the way. I'll throw that out there. Very ecological. Our footprint will be very clean here, but it's done as if you stepped in a time warp from 40 years ago.
Okay, well, hey, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Eddie, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie Braun, the man that's going to ride this really neat piece of machinery that there's a crew around it right now, and they're getting ready to test that engine, and it's really livened up since I talked to you last about 30 minutes ago. So certainly history may be made today, and as it was 40 years ago.
Wow, that's exciting stuff.
That is exciting.
We're going to have Eddie on tomorrow, and
Gary
Scott,
Davis,
and Gary Davis.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be able to find out a little bit more about that. But Benito, we appreciate the report, and we'll talk to you soon. This will be we'll have this later on our website, newsradio1310.com.
Yeah, go to News Radio. I'll have video of everything going on.
All right, very good. Thanks, Benito. Talk to you soon. Okay. All right, very good. Well, we have already bypassed the close and everything, so we're just coming up on the news from the Fox Radio News Network. Thank you for joining us today, and again, we will have Eddie Braun and Gary Davis. And is Scott going to be joining him tomorrow?
I'm not sure.
Do you know? Okay.
I don't know.
All right, well, at any rate, we're going to be talking to somebody tomorrow, right?
Yes. Well, we'll be talking to Eddie and Gary, and that's good enough right now, right?
That's right.
Okay.
And we're coming up here on the news from the Fox Radio News Network on News Radio 1310 KLIX. Actually, this is KLIX Twin Falls. We'll see you tomorrow.